It is October 31st, so I decided to bless you all with a bit of a Halloween special. I'm diving into a supernatural horror manga written by a prolific mangaka, Go Nagai. Demon Lord Dante, or Mao Dante, was published by Kodansha on January 1971 and would run until June 1971, 5 months. Needless to say, this story is a bit on the shorter side. The main character of this story is a high school student by the name of Ryo Utsugi. As the main character, Ryo has problems. Sleep problems, in fact. You see, every time Ryo goes to bed, he has this horrific nightmare. Solitary, because it's the same nightmare every single night. 10 nights, in fact. Each night, it seems to become more and more vivid. He keeps having this dream about a demon trapped and encased in the icy mountains of the Himalayas. The demon frees itself, bursting out through the ice and telepathically communicating with Ryo all the way to his bedroom in Japan. Ryo's sister Saori comes to his aid, already suspecting he was having the same dream again. She tries to console him, telling him that it's extremely unlikely for him to ever visit the Himalayas. Still, to Ryo, the dreams feel too real. What's even more strange is that Ryo has already planned a trip to nearby mountains the next day. While Ryo has only had this nightmare for 10 days, there's another nightmare he's only had once and never told anyone about. 1 month prior, Ryo had a dream that would not leave his mind, horrifying him even more than the nightmare he keeps having over and over again. This nightmare takes place in what seems to be some sort of prehistoric time period. There are men and women running away, all of them, ass naked, running away from an army of winged demons. You already know what the fuck's about to happen. The demons swoop down and just start slaughtering these people, biting their necks, smashing their heads into nothingness, just bloody pulps of fucking tomato paste. The demon snatches a woman, flies up and just drops her down just to fall to her death, landing on her neck. Ugh, terrible death. Mans couldn't believe what he was seeing. Then he wasn't seeing at all because the demon just stabs his eyes with his goddamn tail, piercing it through the back of his head. One of the devils participating in the slaughter shapeshifts his face into Ryo's. That's when he woke up. He also has another dream, but it isn't really expanded upon. Ryo just becomes a giant towering over Japan, ass naked of course, and that's pretty much the dream. He's just ass naked. There's probably something more than meets the eye about the ass naked giant dream. We'll get to that soon. It might be foreshadowing. Who knows? Giant, ass naked. Who knows? So Ryo wakes up, goes on his little mountain hiking trip with his friends. Ryo's tired because he barely got sleep because of that terrible dream, and the blizzard is about to hit. So they chill in the cabin. That's when Ryo starts stroking out. He just starts bugging out. He's talking to voices that no one else can hear but himself. The kid just jumps out through a window and just dips in the middle of a blizzard. At this point, his friends try to stop him by holding him down. He bodies and folds each and every one of them single-handedly and just dips. As he's running, the voice introduces itself to him. Its name is Dante. The storm blows the snowflakes in the pattern of a spiral, creating a portal for him to enter through. Ryo runs through the spiral and off of a cliff. Beyond the cliff is darkness. There's nothing there but black. He's gone. Except he isn't. Ryo is about to relive his dream. The voice seems to have brought him from Japan all the way to the Himalayan mountains. Except that isn't what happened at all. The voice explains that it was Ryo's own power that brought him there. Turns out Ryo has psychic powers and the ability to teleport with an established psychic link to another. The voice has been bothering people for 2,000 years, but Ryo was the first one to actually pull up. Ryo enters an icy cave, finding a laboratory. Alright, this is actually kind of getting trippy now. What the fuck? Ryo asks if Dante is a monster, but no, he claims to be a human being. At least he was 2,000 years ago. His name was Judas Iscariot, 13th disciple of Jesus Christ. What the fuck is this manga, bro? Ryo gets mind controlled by Dante and is commanded to destroy the lab, which is keeping Dante imprisoned. After freeing Dante, he just starts swinging on Ryo. At this point, he's cut in half and is just dragging his legless body across the ice. While this is happening, Ryo's sister Saori knows exactly where her brother is, as if it's some sort of second nature that not even she understands. Unfortunately for Rio, Dante butchers and eats him. That's it. That's the end of the story. He just got lured in by a demon and bodied on chapter 1. That's it. It's over. Happy Halloween. I'm kidding. It gets even more sickening, actually. There's this cult, and they're stalking this girl. They designate her as pure, beautiful, intelligent, and best of all, she goes to church. They're going to sacrifice her to summon the devil. As she's driving through an uninhabited area on the road, they snipe her tires, kidnap her, then blow up her car. These men aren't trying to summon Satan. They want a demon considered to be far worse than Satan, Dante. They're about to sacrifice this girl for no reason because Dante pretty much already resurrected himself. Luckily, the cult's actions haven't gone unnoticed. The reverse cult, God's Association, are about to pull up. Funnily enough, the leader of this organization is Rio's father. In the name of God, they all carry machine guns, ready to spray the devil worshipper, except for Sosuke Oshiba. He's an anime samurai and prefers to do things with a katana. Now, I can't really show the devil worshiping ritual on screen without censoring what they do. I will, however, explain it in graphic detail. They have this chick covered with blankets, laying on an altar with her arms chained. This is all happening in the center of some sort of magic circle drawn on the floor that looks like it came straight out of Full Metal Alchemist. They remove the sheet and proceed to grab a chicken. Listen. Devil worshippers and animals don't go together. You just know something unnecessary is about to happen. And it does. The dude just pulls the poor bird's legs apart, tearing it in half, spilling chicken blood all over the girl's titties. Now the plan was to tear out her heart while she was still alive. But the Christians pull up. Off rip, spraying these hooded cloaks with bullets. Dude got the nasty headshot, popped this goon's eye out. It's a holy massacre. They decide to resurrect Dante without sacrificing the girl. As the summoning begins, the energy from Dante rips apart anyone who isn't standing inside of the magic circle. So pretty much all of God's Association's assault team and some of the devil worshippers are just torn to pieces as the summoning successfully brings forth Demon Lord Dante. Sort of. You see, Dante isn't your average demon. He's fucking huge, about 20 meters tall. Just a big monster with Judas' face protruding from his forehead. However, Judas' likeness was nowhere to be found. The face protruding from Dante's forehead is none other than Ryo Utsugi. Although Ryo and Dante are one and the same, Ryo is in no control of the actions he's about to commit. Dante flies to the city of Nagoya. Just by flying above the city, his psychic energy causes the buildings below him to collapse. The city is plunged into a state of chaos and death. The Japanese army pulls up. Not gonna lie, they beat his ass. Suddenly, Ryo's consciousness takes control over Dante's body. Dante has absorbed thousands of humans, but for some reason, Ryo's mind was far too dominant for him to control. Ryo sees himself and realizes that he's a monster. The devil worshippers pull up in a helicopter and pretty much tells him that he's in the body of Demon Lord Dante. Ryo has no choice but to cry and cope with the fact that he's an ugly ass demon now. At this point, he just wants the military to destroy him. Unfortunately, the army cannot destroy something as powerful as him. So he's pretty much like, I want to die and y'all can't kill me? Bet. He just starts annihilating them. He's slowly becoming Dante and he doesn't even realize it. That's until another demon pulls up. It's a giant dog man with an extra set of eyes on his chest. His name is Demon Beast Zenon, commander of 100 devils. Zenon is a traitor who sold his soul to God. Zenon tries to stop Dante from attacking humanity, warning him that God will toss his salad if he keeps this up. Ryo is giving in to his demonic urges and pretty much tells Zenon to do something about it. I dare you, pussy, do something. So, Zenon summons 100 devils. Zenon is only working with God so he can be reincarnated as a god himself. Dante's inner memories anger Ryo over this betrayal that happened to Dante and not Ryo, but you know, he's Dante now, so he's still offended by this. Dante pops off. He's mutilating, obliterating with energy waves, just melting all these demons with heat vision. He's just killing them all. There's nothing they could do. So Zenon, I guess he has another 100, even though Ryo killed some of them, but I guess he just summoned more. 100 devils jump on Dante, and Zenon just melts their bodies onto him, pretty much restricting his movement because he has melted demons. Oh, that's fucking disgusting. I'm sorry, that's nasty. Just the thought of that. Imagine being immobilized by melted corpses. Anyway, in the end, it doesn't matter. He lifts Zenon up, rips that bitch apart, and calls it a day. With his dying words, Zenon reveals that he doesn't even like God. He was just scared of his almighty power and had no choice but to submit. So Dante decides to gather a demonic army to fight and beef with God himself. Happy Halloween! Last year I made a video talking about a classic horror manga by the name of Demon Lord Dante. For those of you that haven't seen that video yet, I will pin the link to the video in the comment section below. Now we continue Demon Lord Dante. Ryo finally returns home, and understandably, the boy is traumatized. The moment he gets home, he just sits up in his bed looking like a possessed kid from one of those Exorcist movies. The next day, Ryo and his sister Sayori walk into school together, only to find the students panicking. In the science room, they find someone's been torn to pieces and killed. Some of the students are thinking that a bear just pulled up and had himself a snack, but Ryo already knew what the deal was. The devil. At this point, Ryo's stressing. He's sitting in his room at home, realizing that he's of the same species of whatever creature that painted the science room red. But he's in denial, desperately trying to convince himself that he is in fact a human being. He couldn't convince himself because he suddenly senses a power level nearby and shoots out of his window like a bullet, landing miles away from his house, only to find a demon tearing some dude's lungs out. Ryo transforms, but it isn't into that giant monstrosity that took out the military. It's a humanoid devil form, kinda like Tekken. He blitzes and one-shots the demon, both tearing its arm off and cutting it in half in a single moment. Meanwhile, we have a biker gang driving and drinking in the middle of the night. You know, degenerate activity. They spot a woman walking alone and decide to do unspeakable things to her without her consent. After they tear her clothes off, she just transforms into this creature of sorts. Furry legs, scaly body, long squiggly hair. You already know what's about to happen. They all start running, her hairs are stretching out, snatching them up and turning them into stone, leaving them to shatter apart and die. You already know who this is, but I ain't saying it until she does. Ryo is back to having nightmares. His dreams are being invaded by Zenon, begging him to create a demon army to kill God. Again, Ryo rejects his demonhood, and the next morning, the Utsugi family are all having breakfast. Sayori is reading the newspaper and finds a report of frozen corpses broken into pieces in the middle of the road. You already know what that's about. Ryo's dad takes the newspaper. He's sweating because he already knows what it is. So while Ryo is on his way to school, he is approached by Oshiba, you know, the samurai priest demon hunter from the previous video. Turns out, he has a kendo club in the school. All of a sudden, he starts talking to Ryo about demons, just brings it up out of nowhere. So Ryo plays dumb, acting like demons couldn't possibly exist. So Oshiba debunks him by inviting him to his dojo. You see, Oshiba believes that Ryo is closer to God than any other because Ryo's father is a leader of the Demon Hunter Super Priest organization. So Oshiba wants to indoctrinate Ryo into the cause. Just come to the dojo, bro. I'ma show you something cool. Proceeds to show him some random citizen getting his ass beat by wooden swords without protective gear to inflict maximum damage upon his body. They're torturing this man. Understandably, Ryo is confused. Oshiba tells Ryo that they've been watching him for a while. They believe he's a demon hiding in human form. He theorized that demons can disguise themselves as humans. So to prove it, he just cracks the man over the skull with a wooden sword, causing him to revert back into his demon form. He was right. So the ass beating continues. Oshiba grabs a pocket knife and carves the demon to death. Ryo feels sympathetic towards the demon and leaves the dojo, only to be approached by the woman that wasted that entire biker gang the night before. She refers to him as Dante, which immediately gets his attention. She introduces herself as Medusa, which was obvious, and draws out the dormant memories of his forgotten past. 1 million years ago, Earth was inhabited by a peaceful race known as humans. Their peace seems to have allowed them to advance their technology up to futuristic proportions. They have flying cars. In the depths of space, there exists this large mass of energy. This mass of energy wasn't like the sun at all. It had sentience. Its name was God. God pulls up to Earth and launches an attack against a futuristic city known as Sodom. Energy beams and fireballs everywhere, just mass destruction brought about by unthinkable telekinetic power. In this time period, Dante and Medusa were both human beings. God introduces himself to the people of Sodom. He reveals to the humans that he lacks a physical form and wishes to harvest himself inside all of their bodies, possessing them all. He destroyed their city as a display of power, killing millions. Obviously, the humans don't like this, so God says bet. He just summons these god creatures. We got humanoid horses on fire, humanoid fire dogs, humanoid fire pigs, just a bunch of giant animal people. It's kind of nightmare fuel, honestly. The humans are getting burnt alive, torn apart, chopped up, all sorts of terrible things. You want to know the worst part? None of them are dying. The creatures are somehow keeping them alive so they can just keep torturing them. Dante and Medusa flee the city, retrieving his jet that specializes in hunting dinosaurs. This world has dinosaurs. It's a one-man jet, so Rio goes alone, only to be attacked by a pterodactyl. Not gonna lie, the pterodactyl thought he was going to eat swell, but he wasn't. The T-Rex behind him, however, was, cause he just bites down on that flying fuck, having him crying out, screaming out in pain. He was about to eat swell, now he's being eaten swell. Unfortunately, Medusa is spotted by a giant animal god creature and is burned alive. This is where things get crazy. The monster launches a fireball at Dante's ship, burning him alive with the two dinosaurs. Now this time, the monsters actually meant to kill Dante and Medusa. They didn't plan to torture them like the others. They intended to destroy them, and yet, the two were still alive. Their rage allowed them to absorb God's energy, using it to become demons. Dante obtained his monstrous form by fusing with the aircraft that was equipped with futuristic weaponry, as well as absorbing the two dinosaurs into his body. The rest of the humans in the city of Sodom did the same thing, transforming themselves into demons. There was another human city known as Gomorrah. God didn't want the humans absorbing his power and transforming into demons, so he just flooded the entire city with non-stop rain. Giant tidal waves were knocking over buildings while the humans of Sodom became demons that lived on. The humans of the city of Gomorrah were wiped out, with very few survivors remaining. Those survivors created a cult, and their descendants are the devil worshippers that would resurrect Dante in the modern age. Devils are the original humans. If so, what are the humans in the modern era? It turns out God decided to possess apes instead, forcing them to rapidly evolve into humans, granting God the vessels he desired. Human souls are pieces of himself divided amongst the entirety of mankind. Rio regains his memory. Dante's soul entered the body of Rio as a newborn baby. It was fate that led his soul to the Himalayas to merge with Dante's body, making both body and soul whole again. It is this revelation that causes Rio to embrace his true identity as Dante and build a devil army to kill God. The end. This manga is incomplete, but would morph into something great. Toei Animation wanted to make an anime adaptation of Go Nagai's Demon Lord Dante. Unfortunately, Toei wanted the anime to cater to children, so they needed for Go Nagai to heavily alter the story and get rid of all the, crazy religious stuff, if you will. As a result, the anime Toei Animation would create would be a heavily altered version of Demon Lord Dante and would result in the creation of an entirely new franchise by the name of Devilman.